It's ADSN on the beat, where the data meets the street. James and Daniel in your feed, breaking down the code you need. Tech talk, ad game, and a little AI. Every week we got the chat on ADSN.
We are back with another ADSN. James, this week we're bicostal. This podcast has gone nationwide. I'm in New York, Upfronts week. You're holding it down in LA. This is a first of many for ADSN.
That looks like a wonderful hotel room that you are occupying right now.
You know, I'm in this beautiful city, and I've spent way too much time in this hotel room. I could be anywhere in the world. In fact, I could probably be in Manhattan Beach, and it wouldn't look any different.
We should do Kalshi odds on what hotel you're at.
Oh, speaking of Kalshi odds, that's a great intro, James. We have a wild episode today. We're covering a lot, but we're going to kick it off with Kalshi. So Kalshi posted this yesterday. Just in 50% chance Tesla and SpaceX merge within the next year. And if you go look at the Kalshi odds, this thing jumped with conversations about the SpaceX IPO, some of Elon's tweets. It went from about mid 30%, well over 50%, close to 6%, within a day. What do you make of it?
There's a spike in April that I think you could attribute to a previous ADSN episode we did about this. Yeah,
the ADSN effect. Yeah.
It is obviously happening, and you'll end up getting the end goal is that the stock ticker is going to be Elon.
It's going to be
buying all this stuff together. Yeah, that's going to be what you're going to buy Elon.
Oh yeah.
No, it's going to be incredible. I still just laugh a little bit about being an ads PM. And you now magically work at SpaceX, XAI, Tesla.
You share a cubicle with a car manufacturer, a rocket scientist, and an AI, state-of-the-art AI engineer.
Yeah, and you're like, hey guys, I shipped this MCP, and they're like, all right, cool. We just put someone on Mars. But I think they're doing it.
Someone's got to pay for it. Yeah. Yep. I think Kalshi odds. This place is breaking the news. I know they're doing this on mainstream news. They've now hit it to ADSN. I think they're everywhere now. I think we were the final checkbox.
I was thinking about this yesterday. I kind of think it'd be interesting if Kalshi or Polymarket or even Robinhood launched RMNs. I actually think that data to target ads to people is really interesting.
Yeah.
And they'd be so good. I don't know if maybe there's some regulatory reason you can't, but that is way more interesting, especially trading data for Robinhood. That is way more interesting than retail data. If you're teens, I would rather know your stock portfolio than what shirt you bought or something,
Absolutely. I mean, I think if Intuit, which has all this business data from your accounting books, Ramp just launched kind of their AI and MCP where you can query their card data. I mean, this isn't even stock trading. I know it's gray area, but it's a prediction market. So I think if anyone's listening from Kalshi or Polymarkets, that sounds like something you should be working on if you're not. Maybe go poach one of those close to rocket scientists from Twitter to help you out there.
I wonder if I can put a Kalshi odds up for does Kalshi launch an RMN? Okay.
Ooh.
Not everyone's problem, but that may be a fun weekend project. Right.
You're going to take a break from Claude to go do that. All right. We're going to get back to ads land for a sec. This one from Eric Tilbury, who's notorious on the programmatic, open web. He just, he's all over the place. He has some great takes. This one, I think, just doesn't get said enough. It's simple. It's not easy, but it doesn't get said enough. He posted, I'm going to define outcomes for everyone, and these words shall be written in stone and understood as scripture from here on out. Outcomes. Make more money by showing ads over time than you would have without showing ads. That's it. That is outcomes. I think oftentimes, we all make it a little more complicated than that, but really it's, am I making more money with my ads than am I not making as much money without the ads?
Yes, this is like a derivative of what Adam Faraji, I never know if I say his last name right, CEO of Apple, even said recently, which is basically his whole goal, which I thought this was such a good line, and I sent it around to a bunch of people, is to enable the advertiser to become the one who's making the arbitrage trade and not the middleman. And so like that idea being is like, if I have money sitting behind the scenes on my balance sheet, I can go ahead and use AppLovin to basically arb those dollars and generate a yield. And then I will keep spending. It's pretty straightforward. So you call it outcomes, you call it, being on the right side of the arb, but yeah, put $1 in, get more than $1 out, and really be able to show that $1 out is a derivative of that $1 in. That seems like a reasonable thing. I think, everyone in ads is totally overthinking it. You like are in New York for like Upfronts week, which is like hysterical because like, who knows? I mean, we're still as far along as we are towards outcomes on all the walled garden stuff. Still quite a bit of work to do in the rest of the world. So you can report back on what you learned at these upfronts.
We'll do it at ADSN. We'll do a recap next week. I think there's some good stuff coming out of it, but we'll talk about that. But I think one of the big launches that was announced last week, not at upfronts, unsurprisingly, is ChatGPT launching a CAPI, a Pixel, a self-serve, kind of everything we've talked about. Eric Seufert has posted some great analysis of it, but they're just going all in on everything that we would expect from a walled garden. They're launching all the tools as fast as possible. I'm sure using Codex, as you said on a previous episode, and not hard to.
I had like a snarky tweet about it this weekend because I was kind of annoyed that everyone was so impressed about this stuff. But it's I wrote, Elad Gil wrote, people at major AI labs using internal models are probably 3 to 4 months ahead of startup Silicon Valley engineers. Silicon Valley founders and 3 to 6 months ahead of New York founders and 6 to 12 months ahead of the world. Most people have no idea how fast AI is shifting, as about 1 or 2 years behind. And then there's a quote from Robert Heinlein, which is, the future is here, just not equally distributed. I then wrote, and you are impressed that OpenAI shipped an ad manager. And we are pretty sophisticated, like knowledgeable people, but like I don't work at a foundation model company. And so like I'm inherently behind. And this is a joke. They told Codex, they literally like walked up, they're like, hey Codex, like give me my ad manager and CAPI and like make sure it works. And and then like it came back and they're like, better, do it better. Yeah. And this is a joke.
They're like, look at Meta, look at Google, look at the best ones, just rebuild with a ChatGPT wrapper.
And then listen, I think on the optimization, like on their goal-based bidding, all that stuff is gonna be real work. Like we've talked about this before, that's not ready for like, you can't like shove that into an LLM, but like all of the abstraction layers are kind of a joke at this point. And so,
there's the team working on the optimizations and the machine learning, and then there's teams working on the operations. How do we scale this up and like give credit to the right companies?
How fast me and you can build stuff, and we don't have access to like futuristic robots. That like,
nor do we have thousands of people.
Or billions of dollars at our disposal.
Man, wouldn't that be fun?
Hey, I like a challenge. No, but it's great. I'm very excited. This will be the most, until Anthropic launches an ads business, the ChatGPT ads business will become the fastest growing ads business in the market, and it will get to parity faster than any other platform ever has. That's like a fact.
I like that. I do think it's interesting. I mean, we're all talking about ChatGPT. One of our sponsors, Thrad, is one of the folks in the space though that is betting maybe on more of an open ecosystem. I think this is the walled garden versus open web all over again. I'm curious to see how publishers treat this any different than they may have treated kind of Google back in the day. If they learned anything, or if they're just going to go all in on OpenAI again. I mean, I think it's.
I think the opportunity.
It's obviously a little different.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to probably be like legacy publishers to some extent. It's probably going to be new apps and new opportunities, and there are a ton. Like you think of how many new. It's kind of a derivative of the vibe coding phenomenon, but there's going to be more time spent in aggregate outside of the new walled gardens because of these new experiences for quite a bit of time. So I think there's definitely a hand to play there. Yeah. And actually, kind of a good segue to this tweet that was written by a very good friend of ours, Peter Sells. Had a product over at Discord, kind of like I would say, kind of like a tier 1 shit poster, kind of on on X these days. But
maybe he'll put that in his LinkedIn bio now.
Yeah. But he did go viral on TVPN a few times for having really clever things. But anyway, he's referencing this Ashley Vance tweet, which is, "This might be the coolest real estate business in the world. Some dudes took over a ranch in Texas and built a telescope farm. They're managing hundreds and hundreds of scopes for other people and offering super dark skies and fiber internet so that folks can take amazing pictures of space. Behold starfront observatories." And he wrote, "A lot of alpha still out there, boys," as the tweet. But I think that's kind of similar to sort of like the Thrad thesis. There's a lot of opportunity for people to build some really, really cool things that do not exist today and that will monetize via ads. It's just, we're still like in the first inning of all this stuff.
I love it. I love that, actually. I mean, I think that gets to kind of a post that we both loved from Toby at Shopify, which, if anyone's listened to this podcast, they know we're, fans of kind of a lot of his takes. And he wrote basically that world needs more entrepreneurs. They have a Shopify data that says data shows product categories outside the top 100 now account for nearly 55% of all sales on Shopify, and they're growing faster than the mainstream. And I think to the, to there being alpha out there, we just need more entrepreneurs. We need people to go do the things. And some of those things exist today. Some of them don't. But I think the value is starting to become fragmented, which is a good thing. Like, everyone can take a piece of this. It's no longer the aggregators. And so, I mean, I love this. I know you do. Just like, if you have an idea, like, go build it. Now you can go build it.
Yeah. It's like it's sort of the next phase of like the Greg Eisenberg, like, community thesis, right? Like, now coming into fold where, these micro communities have always been, I feel like for the last few years, the micro community move has been like such a great way. It was kind of like a CAC hack, right? To like kind of get people together. But now I think you can verticalize the micro community sort of thesis. And so like you'll have, in this case, like the most obscure product, just like whatever, it could be anything. And it could have like, I won't name the name, but we were pitched recently, basically like a credit card for creators, right? Or similar to that. I don't want to get into the details of it, but it was a niche kind of concept. And I think a few years ago, you would have been like, I don't know, like, this is way more niche than just credit card for creators, but I don't want to like spill this person's story. But I think it's a clever idea. But anyway, but the level of sort of nicheness of it, I think a few years ago would have been ridiculous. Now you hear it and you're like, I kind of get it. Like, there are a lot of very, very, very niche businesses out there that if you were to really go at it and do it cheaply, you could build something pretty interesting.
Yeah, I agree there. And I think that kind of feeds into this post from Josh Durham, where he writes that most brands don't just need better ads, they need more ads. And as the world becomes more fragmented, as we split our time between all these different apps and these communities and kind of more niche experiences, brands are going to have a harder time reaching all of us, in various contexts. And so it's not just, obviously everyone needs better ads that resonate, ads that tell a story, whatever you're going for. But you also need more ads. There are more surfaces, just more time spent. You need more ads. Like, it's a math problem.
This is like what we talked about a couple weeks ago, where like luck is like surface area. And it's like, miss 100% of the shots you don't take, like go like a variety of different analogies you can make there. But yeah, no, this one's makes a lot of sense to me. And I think kind of taking it to a little bit of our world with TV, it's just like, I still sort of laugh about how precious everyone is about these TV ads. It's like, just pump them out. And like, even for us creating content now, Harry Stebbings talked about this, and I think it was really good. It was just like if there's shitty content, then inherently no one sees it, and therefore it doesn't matter. So like, you don't know if you've created something good until you've created it. And so I think you have to do that with your ad strategy. To not is just sort of like living in the past.
Yeah. Maybe you shared this one with me about Duolingo. What's the story there? I think it relates very well.
Basically, they launched focus mode. So it locks distracting apps via screen time until you finish your daily lesson. Every blocked app, effectively an ad unit for Duolingo's core product. I think it's clever, and it's like a little scary, maybe in some ways. Where like I actually had this experience not too long ago with a chat GPT kind of plugin thing, where it went through my email and basically was like, my suggestion is that you always accept these invites from these people. And it was basically like, it looked at who I thought was influential in my email, and like the robot was like, you should be nice to these people. I was like, whoa, back off, robot. And it was right, actually, in his suggestion, but it just felt like overreach.
Yeah.
And I think this one doesn't feel like overreach, because I know what you're trying to accomplish, but it is kind of funny to think that like, this is like net neutrality, but like in like app form, it's like, let's slow down every other channel while I speed up mine.
And it's interesting, with one app where you're trying to like learn a language, it becomes really annoying. Yeah. When you think about like, you're on Instagram and it's like, hey, why are you leaving Instagram? Like, you sure? And then you go to your banking app and they're like, whoa, why don't you spend some more money? You sure you want to leave? Like, you're going to get second guessed every action you want to take on your phone now.
Yeah. I think, but it's clever. It's cool. Yeah.
I like it. I think it's on brand for them, and the messaging is fun. But it is like a slippery slope. This next one I really like, from Ryan Peterson at Flexport. He's responding, or he's writing that today I learned there are more car dealerships than car makers in the Fortune 500, which, I don't think is an intuitive thing, because we all know the car maker brands. And then in reply, wrote, distribution is greater than. The manufacturer builds the product, the dealer owns the customer, and the customer relationship is the only actual asset. And we talk about this all the time. And we talk about it in relationship to AI and SaaS and digital. But I think, maybe people in tech don't really, realize that it's the exact same thing in the real world, right? If you own the customer relationship, it is everything.
I just texted this to a very important person in the ad space to understand why this is so important.
ADSN live breaking to people in the ad space.
Yes. Someone who's probably going to stop texting me, but too bad. This is, I think, a good example of this is sort of the phenomenon, which I disagree with for the most part right now. But if you look at the relative valuations of like the Trade Desk and AppLovin to like Snap, Pinterest, and some of the tier 2 sort of manufacturers of content versus the people who right now are getting credit for basically monetizing different forms of content, it's a good example. Owning the customer relationship is everything. You can then go ahead and move around, for all practical purposes, where the demand flows, especially if you can do that in like a clever way. I think agencies did it in like kind of a ham-handed way like before, but like maybe they have a renaissance here. But you look at like some of these dealer groups when they get into different brands, right? Like, and it's a good example of they are aggregators of the customer relationship, and they take the tax, and the flip side of all that is that Tesla doesn't have a dealer model, because they went vertical and they own the full distribution, and they're worth more than all of these things combined. So it does kind of show that like, and if you were going to use that analogy, probably with in ads, it's Amazon, right? Saying like, I'm the abstraction layer for everything. And so I own the customer relationship, and they're worth more than all those things combined. But yeah, distribution's king, and anything that can get people to understand how valuable it is to actually be able to talk to the customer, I am wildly in favor of.
Which I think, you know, I look at, I mean, you talk about Shopify as the, you know, the best kept secret in ads, right? And like, that is this, right? They are the dealership model. They own it all, but they build nothing, right? And like, they give every, well,
they build a lot. Yes.
Sorry, they don't build the cars, right? In this analogy, they don't build the cars. They distribute that they allow every company to go build their own cars, and then they distribute.
Yes, I've texted you a lot about this. I've been thinking about Shopify. I've decided it's a headless walled garden built on a bunch of APIs. And I posted about this, but like, everyone thinks that business is a SaaS business. It's not. It is like a ton of business logic tied into these APIs.
Yeah.
That allow them to own, in reality, the customer relationship across like every aspect, both on the supply and the demand side.
Yeah. And when you posted it, Harley, president of Shopify, just hit you with the shh.
Yeah, he commented. He did comment too. But I think people are going to wake up to how this is and how quickly you can get abstracted away.
Yeah.
Especially as all this AI takes over. So, yes.
Great.
Car dealerships.
Great one, Ryan. All right. Yeah. So this one is I think a really fun announcement. So Steven, the CEO of Cameo, announced over X, is super pumped about Cameo's new partnership with TikTok, making joining Cameo as frictionless for TikTok creators as possible for fans, the ability to book cameos without having to leave TikTok's feed. This is like the no-brainer partnership of the century of TikTok and Cameo, clearly staying in their own lanes, but the together story is just so much more powerful. And just on the Cameo side, just getting so much greater distribution and hitting those niche communities, right? You don't need the B, C list actors anymore. You can go get the viral creators that maybe never thought of Cameo.
Distribution is king. And, this is a good example. Cameo, Chicago company, which is pretty exciting. So I want them to win, but I think, you know, it's interesting to see these deals happening. You know, in parallel, you have, OnlyFans just raised money. They just got an evaluation of I think it was like sub 4 billion, which is pretty interesting. But I give that example of just like, I do think there's pressure on these real life creator marketplaces because of AI.
Yeah.
And so then it's going to come down to like who actually really owns the distribution. And so like, is Cameo now just a pipe to a marketplace? You know, where I think OnlyFans probably has like its other value of being, it's like own own app itself. Using it as an example. But yeah, it's interesting to see where it all goes. I mean, the other thing that's sort of funny about it is like TikTok, you know, it's now an American company. Like they kind of keep just chugging along, you know, like everyone's leaving. I like see like there's so much TikTok churn, but like, I think if you were to ask your Gen Z friends, it's still very much like, it's like out of the zeitgeist in a weird way, but it's almost like more relevant than ever with that niche.
Which I feel like is the natural progression of a lot of consumer apps, right? Like Facebook is kind of has been out of vogue for years, but there's still 3 billion people on it. Instagram, everyone said isn't cool anymore. Okay, well, you look over on the subway or the bus or and us driving on the freeway, everyone's on it. Snap had that same thing. It was kind of cool for a number of years, and then it wasn't, but it still had a billion active users, and still pumping out 6 billion of ad revenue. Like to your point, like
get someone from TikTok on the show and tell us what it's like.
Yeah,
there now
in this new regime. Yeah,
I feel like it's like very opaque. What's but
there's the RFP.
Excited. Yes, I no longer like despise them, so that's good. we're not super helpful to Snap. Anyway, different story.
Anyway, okay. This one I know you like. What do we have next? Because I know this one you like, and you've been talking about this for the last 15 episodes.
Gokul, one of the smartest guys like in tech and product, he said, install the following in a startup update today. On some days this past month, we spent more on AI tokens than people. Token spend divided by headcount spend is, if not the leading indicator of an AI native company. If you're listening,
pat yourself on the back. Yeah.
If you're listening to this, not watching it, I just celebrated that I'm correct. This is clearly so obvious. And then I saw another great thing about how like Meta is doing their 12% layoff. And like the reality is that people are going to start doing layoffs not to necessarily save money, but to invest in AI. Mm-hmm. And so overall productivity of a company is going to increase. It doesn't necessarily mean that the OpEx in aggregate is going to decrease. In fact, it probably won't, because as productivity and revenue increases, you can facilitate more OpEx. So like, this is what we'll hear about this a year from now. This will become a thing that like your dad, like, your
he'll ask. So what's your headcount spend divided by your token usage?
Totally. I heard you guys are lagging. Thanks, Dad. I think this one's great, and I think and it is what it is. It's not. It just is what it is. It's just reality. Then it's not. We're not going back.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Well, congrats on that. You've been saying it for a long time. I think people have argued with you in your comments on the show, but
I've monetized it tens of dollars of value.
Not as well as this next guy has monetized it. I think this one. Who knows if it's true, but I think it's indicative of an entire kind of where we are in the cycle. Mitchell wrote, met a guy making $5.2 million a year. Super simple business idea. Finds a small town, buys a plot of land for cheap, and announces that he's building a data center there. Residents whip up in a frenzy and start pushing back. He negotiates and has the city buy back the land for more. Again, who knows, the truth to it, but like, I think, this.
What a jerk.
What a jerk. Yeah. But I think this next one, the reason I want to read that is because then we talk about this one from Todd Saunders, who
not a jerk. This not one seems great.
And he's writing, the future of AI is in the suburbs. This is the largest redistribution of software creation in history. And I think the two are related. Obviously, one is like an arbitrage play, kind of just trying to ride the cycle up and kind of, as you said, just being a jerk and like arbitraging where there shouldn't be. But I think the larger story is that this actually is an opportunity for the rest of the country, right? Like, this is not going to be a coastal thing. There's just not enough land. There's not enough opportunity on the coast. There is so much opportunity in the rest of the country to aggregate wealth and redistribute like what that means for the country.
I think it's kind of a tie into the Toby thing where like, listen, like the coasts are going to crush it on this, obviously, right? But then there's just so much opportunity out there, and there's so much to build that there's going to be pockets of like extreme innovation. And I think that move to like company town thing is going to come back. Like, which is like a great lifestyle. Like, you think of like people want, I don't know, like, I think I would like live in I think a good example is like Walmart. Like, we've talked about this. Bentonville is like a really interesting idea of like, it's like an awesome area. It's a great, there's a bunch of interesting things with it. And you can like live in this company town and like work at this huge company. Like, if you're going to do that, it's actually kind of a clever place to do it. Yeah. And I could imagine, you could see a world where like Ramp gets so big, they like are in Westchester and they just like take over like a town, and like, it would be really, I think it's going to be awesome.
I mean, our friends at Kushava did that in Idaho. They took over a town, right? And like, and I think that, to your point, that's a great thing for many, many people, us included. But anyway, all right. So that's super exciting. But now it is time for the episode.
Primary post.
All right. I'm going to kick this one off, James. This one I love from, hey, it's Alex P. I heard on a podcast this weekend that Gen Z doesn't subscribe to anything, anyone. They just use the algo. We need to verify this. I'm going to go call my Gen Z friends and verify this. But everything we just talked about with TikTok and Instagram and everything else, I don't know what to make of this. That like, one, this must mean their email inboxes are so clean because they're not getting junk mail. But
I think so.
They're they're, if the algos become so good, you don't need to subscribe to anything anymore. It will just find you.
I think you see this phenomenon unfolding on Instagram most, where people have relatively small amount of followers, but their reels get millions of views.
Yeah.
All right. And so that's also where like the follower, I had this conversation this weekend about like how many followers you have may not be the stat you leave with. Instead, it's like how many video views have I generated over the last X amount of days? Maybe the better question to ask. So I think that may be like indicative of that thing. That for us as like millennials, I just slam follow people, subscribe. You know? So I don't know. We got to age out of it, but find out. I think ask your young friends.
Yeah, we're gonna find this one out. We're gonna do some investigative journalism. We're gonna find out if this is a real thing. I think we both agree we think it is, but we're gonna go get the truth.
All right. My primary post is from Pirate Wires. They interviewed at Charlie B. Curran, the AI filmmaker behind the legendary Spencer Pratt videos. While Hollywood panics about the technology, Charlie's optimistic. AI is how you get an artistic revolution. He told us, if you haven't seen these videos about Spencer versus Bass, basically, they are unbelievable. Sort of politics aside, they are showing what happens when you effectively create more ads and have a larger surface area, and you leverage AI for creativity and see what sticks. As of today, Spencer has an unbelievable amount of momentum on the back of this. It's just sucking up the oxygen from the marketplace, and I think brands could learn a lot from it. I, as someone whose house burned down in LA, am wildly in favor of this stuff, and I think Spencer's great. And I think it is and I did tweet about this, which is like whether you like it or not, the modern day politician is actually an influencer, and so who better to run a political campaign than a lifelong influencer who has a bunch of friends in Hollywood that are really good at creating AI videos. Like, that's a pretty good hand.
You got to figure out how to build a business around it. But I mean, I love the videos. We'll post them here. But, I think it also, we're seeing this acceleration. I think 2 weeks ago, it was all about clipping. You want the chief clipping officer. You want this stuff. You want to get your army of followers or people who see your video to reclip it. And then I think this is kind of the next iteration of that is you maybe don't need 1,000 people clipping from your original video. You need 5 AI creators to create something really high quality, tells a story, is funny, like is cinematic, and it's 30 seconds. And it's of this caliber. And I think you have both, right? There's volume and there's quality. And this is incredible.
I am vote Spencer. I don't care. I'm just going to say it. You got this is ridiculous. People need to, if you're in LA, and if you're not and you want to know why, I can tell you firsthand why you should. And then second is if you're in ads, I really, really think you should be inspired by this stuff and try harder when it comes to the creative. Use Higgsfield, use Creatify. There's no reason, even using chat images. I've sent you so much of this stuff. It is so easy if you haven't done this stuff yourself. Yeah. You're half your brain, it will unlock new capabilities, new little things that grow in it once you see what you're capable of doing with this stuff. So you should use this as your inspiration to go build a bunch of really cool shit and then run them on TV and we can help you. But anyway,
All right. With that, go be creative and go run some shit on TV.
Yeah.
All right, James. Another good episode. I'll see you back on the coast next week.
I love the self-review. Let's see what people say about it. All right. Bye.
It's ADSN on the beat, where the data meets the street. James and Daniel in your feed, breaking down the code you need. Tech talk, ad game, and a little AI. Every week we got the chat on ADSN.